Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Family Law Show. I am your host, Enrique Figueroa, and joining me today, we have Donald P. Schweitzer, the founder and managing partner of one of the largest family law firms within the San Gabriel Valley here in California. He is a certified family law specialist with over 25 years of trial experience, specializing in divorce, child custody, support, and domestic violence matters. Prior to getting into private practice, Don served as a deputy district attorney in Orange County for about 8 years and is a former police officer for about 10 years at least. Don, welcome to the show. Glad to have you.
Thank you. Thank you, Enrique. It's a pleasure being here.
You know, it's really exciting having you because I think you have this insane wealth of experience and stories to share with us today. And I'm really excited today for our interview, for our chat. So, I mean, it's kind of tough. I mean, where do we begin? But I'm really interested in how you navigated the waters from being in law enforcement, you know, through deputy district attorney all the way into family law. So, I mean, I guess let's go back to the beginning a little bit. You know, where did the career begin? How did we start?
Well, Enrique, you know, it's funny that you say that. People ask me that question a lot, and especially my kids. They ask me, how in the world did you get from point A to point B, Z here? And I have to say that, there was no master plan. Things just kind of fit together as we were going along. I started wanting to be a police officer when I was in high school. I attended community college, started studying criminal justice, found out that I was broke, couldn't support myself, went into the military, and my first stint in law enforcement was as a military police officer for the Army. After I got out of the Army, I was fortunate enough to become a cop in my hometown, Glendale Heights, Illinois. I was there for 2 years, and it was a very small town. I felt pretty stifled, needed to grow, and I wanted to go to the big city. And I had an opportunity to come here to California for Santa Ana, and I went for it. I mean, I went for a big, bustling city with a lot of crime. It was probably one of the 5 smartest things that I've ever done in my life. Came out here, joined the department, and that's where I think that I started taking off professionally. I was the rookie of the year. I ended up becoming a detective within 3 years. I was on the SWAT team, and I found myself in the courtroom a lot. I was a gang homicide detective, and we were putting together some pretty big cases in a very high crime rate area, which brought me to hanging out and working with really good deputy DAs. There were 2 guys in particular that I idolized, and I loved being in the courtroom. I loved the drama. At the time, there was nothing holding me back, and I thought, I want to do that. So I finished my undergraduate degree. Believe it or not, I just quit police work altogether. I turned in my gun and my badge, went to the day program at Southwestern University, and studied law, got some clerkship jobs over at the DA's office, and eventually was hired. And I was a prosecutor over there. Really great experience. Now I was on the other side of, handling the prosecution. Felt like I had, had the world in my hand, and I excelled. I became a senior trial attorney, had a lot of fun there. And then when I left the DA's office, I got into family law because my very first assignment, believe it or not, as a prosecutor was in the child support service unit. Didn't want to go there. There was 5 of us that were hired, and they picked straws, and me and one of my buddies were forced to go into the child support services for 1 year as a 1-year assignment. And I'm like, wait a minute, I like family law. I love family law in law school. In fact, it was one of my favorite topics. But I was there to become a criminal prosecutor. But as it turns out, the child support unit was a blessing because I found a niche that I really, really loved. I loved prosecuting deadbeat dads. And after I got done with that assignment, as I was a criminal prosecutor, people were still coming to me for advice about their child support matters and stuff. So it was something that I never lost. And when I left the DA's office, it was just something that I felt that I wanted to do. I wanted to run my own practice. I wanted to really spread my wings. And family law was something that I had a genuine interest in. It wasn't about just going into any area of law. For some reason, it just stuck with me. It's something that I wanted to do. And I had to kind of start from scratch again. I had all these trial skills, and I know about criminal law, but as most people will tell you, prosecutors don't really segue into other areas of law very easily because they're different worlds. A criminal courtroom is completely different than a family courtroom or anything civil. But fortunately, I had that background of the child support services, And I had enough confidence to be able to make it. But there was a learning curve, and I studied very hard when I jumped in with both feet.
So do you think perhaps maybe, I think it's the idea, at least if I'm wrong, let me know, but it feels like you have a deep passion or a connection to the idea of seeing it through to the end and doing the right thing and making sure that people do see some form of justice, as maybe hokey as that sounds, being an attorney. But, to make that transition from law enforcement all the way through, I feel the legal process, that's almost you seeing it through to the end. Do you think there was maybe some connection that way?
Yeah, it's funny. That is part of my elevator speech. And, you get kind of embarrassed when you tell other people in networking groups why you do what you do. But sincerely, I've lived a life of protecting and serving other people, and I feel that I was born to do it. And I can't do a job unless I feel passionate about it. So when I left the DA's office, where I was, doing very serious cases and protecting the public, protecting victims, I got into family law, and during my first couple of months, I was, putting the firm together, and I was billing clients, and, I realized that I can't do this work unless I commit to doing it because I want to protect people, because there's a reason for what I'm doing. If it was just running a practice and earning money, I couldn't do this, but I look at all of my clients as people that are in need. And that drives me. I really believe that I was called to help other people. That's my whole life has been dedicated to it. And it was a very natural segue from criminal law prosecution to the family law world. People that come to me are in trauma. They're going through perhaps one of the worst times in their lives. I mean, I just don't know if somebody hasn't been through a family law matter, if they could appreciate how difficult it is emotionally. And, how their life just seems to stop and all their dreams stop, and they're usually not thinking straight. And they got ideas that need to be corrected. And a lot of times there's an abusive party on the other side. And that's something that I want to do. I went through my own divorce. I experienced that. And I realized that family law needs really good attorneys, because it's not as easy as it looks. In fact, it's pretty hard. And it's a dedicated profession. And, going through a divorce myself, I realized there was a place for me in that world.
So that connection, like living that experience and also that passion for, doing the right thing or really, understanding what these situations need. Does that give you a leg up, I guess, on the competition, so to speak? Like, do your potential clients come in and really feel that understanding and passion, like, hey, this guy gets it? Is that something that just comes naturally? You don't even think about it?
Well, I do think about it because I want to let them know that I care. And so I put an emphasis when I'm speaking to people that ask for my services or looking to possibly hire me, to let them know that I'm empathetic and I get what they're saying. Not all people that come through my door are looking for my services, my type of services. There's some people that want somebody to be acting crazy because they want to wage war when it's against my advice. The world is full of all kinds of people. And there is a small percentage of people that are not suited, for me or my practice, because we're not about doing things unethically. Okay, and I want people to follow my advice. But conversely, if somebody's got a legitimate problem and they've got a real claim, even if it's going to be a tough one for us to go, we're going to do it. We're going to take it, and I'm going to be very passionate about it because everybody's entitled to an attorney. If you hire an attorney, you want to be represented. You want an advocate, and our job is to provide excellence. We're committed to trying to do our very best on every case, on every motion that we prepare. Not guaranteeing results, okay, but definitely guaranteeing that we're going to give it our best.
So about how many team members you got at the firm there for those who are tuning in for us? Why don't you walk us through kind of like the operation?
Yeah. So we're into our 18th year as a law firm. I started as a solo practitioner knowing that I didn't want to just do it myself. I didn't like it, and I exceeded all of my expectations. Currently, we are the largest family law firm in the San Gabriel Valley. We have 9 attorneys. We have a staff of about 22 people. And one of our attorneys is a estate planning attorney. We found that was a really good thing to have when we've got clients that are dealing with a lot of issues where there's crossover, what we call crossover issues, where they need some immediate help with their estate planning.
Now, I hear that a lot that estate planning and probate matters, they tend to have them under one roof. I'm noticing a lot with law firms now with family law. Um, do they kind of go hand in hand? I'm curious about the tie-in you mentioned there a little bit. Like, how do they relate to one another?
Yeah, Enrique, let me say this, is that most family law attorneys don't have somebody in-house that's estate planning. Okay, they not that they don't have good relationships with people out in the community, but we are unique to the extent that we brought somebody in specifically to support us. And the reason why is that when people are going through a divorce, the first thing that needs to be looked at is whether or not they have estate planning. Because if you die during the pendency of a divorce, guess what happens? Without estate planning, if you don't have a will or a trust, if you die during the pendency of the divorce, that person that you are trying to get away from is going to inherit, all of your community and one half of your separate property in California. So it's a significant thing. And so we tend to have that estate planning attorney speak to our clients right at the onset, before filing, if possible, so that we could do things. When the summons and petition is filed and served on the other side, there's restraining orders that are put into place. And we want to get our clients to the estate planning attorney before those restraining orders get into place so they're not in violation. You can move things in and out of trusts and things like that before filing. Once there's filing, there's some limitations. We also, even during the pendency of the divorce, there's a lot of questions. And a lot of our clients need things like conservatorships, right? They need the variety of things that our estate planning attorney could provide, the power of attorney, those type of things that normally people don't think about, but they should be thinking about that, especially when they're going through this process.
So perhaps what I've seen out there in the world, it's not so much that they have an estate planning attorney in house. They just say they do, but it's more like they wear two hats. Whereas with you, it's not wearing multiple hats. It's I have a hat that fits perfect, and then I have another individual whose hat fits perfect, which that's actually really impressive, I'd say.
I don't know of a lot of family law attorneys that do both family law and estate planning. There are some. I mean, one of my good friends in the community does both of those things. Most family law attorneys don't delve into estate planning. The thing that I learned at the very beginning, Enrique, is that you got to focus. If you really want to be competitive and good, you don't try to be the master of all things. There's some attorneys, even to this day, that claim that they do everything. They're the smorgasbord of legal services. You can't get really good and specialized in that. At least most people can't. I'm sure that there's some brilliant people that maybe can, but most of us can't. And I'm not one of them. I decided at the very beginning that I would focus on family law and just, put all my efforts in training myself and then going to the classes that were necessary and gaining the hardcore experience so that I could be really good. So, I think most family law attorneys, if they have estate planning needs, they pick up the phone and they call somebody they know, or they find somebody that they need to have in giving the advice. There's a problem with that, though, and that is that there's a delay. Before we started our estate planning unit, we had some problems in getting some help, and I would call around, and a lot of the estate planning attorneys just didn't have time to really talk to me or answer in-depth questions. Having our estate planning attorney in-house gives us the ability of just relaxing and talking and working with that person, even if there's no estate planning that is hired. But that person's able to, and her name is Allie. She's wonderful. She gives us all the time we need to be able to work out some problems.
So you talked about, the idea of if you're going to do it right, give it your all, be the best at it. I did mention at the beginning, you are a certified family law specialist. For those who are just joining us and never really heard that term, could you maybe walk us through what that entails? Because I know that's a very, very solid honor to have.
Yeah, a very small percentage of family law attorneys in California become certified family law specialists. In fact, there's a lot of attorneys that pretend to practice family law, and they're just barely competent. And when I get a new attorney in my office, I tell them, we want you to be a certified family law specialist within 5 years. And in fact, our firm is going to pay for your training, and we're going to pay for the test, and you're going to get time to take off to study for it, because it's important that you become not only competent, but really good at what you do. So, we've made a lot of certified specialists in this practice. We're a factory of certified specialists. It's a process where you have to have, they want you to have 5 years of experience, and there's a application that you fill out where you state that you have, so many trials under your belt, you've done so many hearings, and you really, they're going to examine your experience. And then there's a very comprehensive exam. And it's a tough one. It's like a mini bar exam. And you take it and you hold your breath and, hope that you passed it. So, I'm very keen on taking advantage of things that are out there, and, if somebody wants to be a true family law attorney and not go for that exam, I don't think that their heart's in the right place. Because, why not? Why not get to the high level of your knowledge of the cases and codes and all the tips that you learn, from going through that? It's also something that once you acquire, the State Bar mandates that you attend more MCLE credits than which you wouldn't have to do if you weren't. So there's additional training that we have to do every single year in order to keep that certificate.
So rewind, I want to say about, let's say 25, 30 years, someone is just starting out and they need some words of wisdom from you. You get in your DeLorean, you go back in time and you're like, I'm going to give you some information now that you're going to take with you to make you successful in about 25, 30 years time. So you're at, the place you want to be. What would you say to that person?
So Enrique, you're asking me that question, right? You're asking me that question. I'll tell you this. I'm not going to answer your question because I don't want you to be afraid. Okay. One of the things that, when I went to my practice, like everybody, it's like, oh my God, what about job security? I'm not going to get a paycheck. I don't know what I'm doing and stuff. You can't overthink it. You got to get in there and you just got to learn, learning how to practice a particular area of law and learning how to run a law practice is never ending. And it's about step by step, figuring it out and taking it on as a challenge, being excited about the little things that you change on a daily basis. It's not going to be a ready mix thing that within 2 years, you're some big shark out there that everybody loves. What you need to do is understand that great organizations are built piece by piece. I mean, we recently got our office renovated, right? Our lease was up, so we bargained with the building here to give us some new stuff. And I'm tickled when I see a new couch in the reception room. I'm just one of these people that every little change I get tickled with. And, when you start this process, if you overthink it and you get you're fearful of it, you're going to last. It's about developing confidence. So I would say, I'm not going to give you the Grandmaster scheme, but if you want to know some tips, here's what they are. Okay. Number one is make sure that you bring in the right people, because it was a learning process for us through the 18 years that we've been practicing that sometimes people come through the doors and they've got attitudes and they don't want to work as a team, and that's bad. It's very counter. I mean, we've had issues like every other firm, and fortunately, our culture has weeded them out and we've gotten rid of them. But that's one thing: is make sure you bring in the right people. The second thing is focus. Don't try to do everything all at once. You got to pick your things that you're doing. My focus lately has been on my social media campaign, and I'm not doing some other things that I might do in marketing. But, if I spread myself out too thin, then nothing's going to get done, and stuff. And, the thing is that strive for excellence, understand what your mission is. I think I told you at the beginning of this interview that when I stopped being a prosecutor and a police officer, and I found myself as a family law attorney in a one-room office with no staff, no paralegal, nothing, I had to have a come to Jesus meeting with myself, and it was like, why am I here? What am I doing? And I decided that I'm going to build a firm, and I'm going to start that with a mission statement. And that mission statement is still on my wall out there. And basically what it says is, that we're going to be highly ethical. We're going to be strong advocates for our clients. We're going to give our clients exceptional services, and it goes on and on like that. But you have to start off with a belief of what you're going to be, and envision that. I envision a law practice in a place where I'd want to work. I've worked in the DA's office and as a police officer, and I saw the good and bads of organizations. And I thought, I want to create something where I'd want to work and give that to other people. So, the mentoring system, the collegiality, the strive for excellence, the competitiveness, those are the things that I wanted and have developed over time. And, I truly believe that we're there now.
Well, I know you said you didn't necessarily want to give an answer to scare anyone, but I think you gave a pretty solid answer right there. And Don, I think I could talk to you all day long. So if you'd like, I think we should have you back for like a round two on the podcast someday. If you'd be open
I'd love to have you on my podcast sometime.
Oh my good, please, thank you. I'd be happy to. That'd be great. I can bore everyone to death with paid search advertising, PPC. But until then, I just wanted to say thank you so much, Don, for joining us on the Family Law Show today. Once again, everyone, Donald P. Schweitzer. And if you've enjoyed watching the show today, please make sure to hit subscribe or go to scorpion.co and follow us. And thank you once again for watching the Family Law Show. As always, I am your host, Enrique Figueroa, and I'll see you again next time.